Welcome, my friends, to Wake Movement. Spelt MVMT. Our official symbol is the W on top of the M, which is the sigil of Saturn, because we're tapping into their magical Kabbalah and using it against the dark warlocks. A dark cabal runs our country, QAnon will admit. Surely the word cabal is related to Kabbalist. No? Is that just me? So we have the Kanye Yee, Nick Fuentes, and Milo interview with Tim Pool. And Tim Pool starts off the interview by confronting Yee about his remarks and almost asking for an apology off rip. And Yee walked out of the interview. Oh, a Nissan Skyline just drove by. Those are tight. And to me, this is all a distraction. Weird game they are playing. Well, what it has done, and what Adam even posted today, was that, and what I commented during Adam's stream yesterday was, I think this is them trying to bring down Trump to raise up DeSantis, who is even more controlled, if you could imagine that, than Trump, who is even a better friend to Israel than Donald Trump, if you could imagine that. There's never enough we could do for our greatest ally, who steals from us, who spies on us, who receives aid from us to the tune of $13 million a fucking day. Imagine if we took that money that we send out to this Jewish nationalist state. Oh, so having a Christian nationalist state is the same as a Jewish nationalist state. But, Goodman Brown in chat. But, saying, okay, we want to have a Anglo nationalist state. People will lose their fucking heads. And I'm not saying that's what I want, but just for the exercise. But then we're the number one supporters of a Jewish ethno-fascist apartheid regime that is our tax-paying fucking dollars are going to the annihilation of the people originally in this place before it got colonized. Angels in Canada. Oh, Canada. Jeremy from Rager. What's his Ragecast was something he did. He's part of the Plaid Army, who started Diagolon, a fictional meme. He's a comedian. They locked him up, like, without bail, and blamed him for the truckers' protest. What they did to Jeremy, Ragecast from I forget the name of the original channel. Maybe somebody could remind me. That's sad what they did to him in Canada. Canada with Justin Trudeau, who is a spawn of the World Economic Health Forum, similar to the lady from New Zealand. That's a little snapshot of where America is going. And what was the only thing keeping us from going into a total leftist, communist, socialist, tyrannical regime? The Republican Party putting us into their tyrannical. Both Zionists ran and owned and operated. On the left, Haim Sabin. On the right, Sheldon Adelson. So they have us split between left and right while the ship is going straight on course. A course that involves the annihilation, the blotting out of the remembrance of Amalek, aka Esau, aka Edom, aka Rome, aka America now and Western Europe, who only make up 8% of the world, and who is celebrated in. There is a very telling clip about Jimmy Fallon when he says that reports show that white people will no longer be the majority, but rather a minority by the year 2030. And the crowd fucking applauded to it. Probably mostly white. I don't know. But applauding their own fucking dismemberment. How disturbing is that? So what my theory was yesterday, and it seems to be playing out, is that they are taking down Trump because Trump is a little bit more of a wild card than farmed DeSantis. They praise him as he's in his naval uniform, and they use that for his campaign. Dog, he spent like 6 months in the Navy. I mean, maybe a little bit more, but in an office doing special operations to like commit like war crimes and atrocities. Really look into how he was elevated, put into that position in the Navy. I feel like he was homegrown. DeSantis, it sounds Italian. Fuentes, it sounds Spanish. I don't want to say they're cryptos, but they're doing the bidding. They're useful goy, at the least. DeSantis put up a post saying that he's proud to be the most pro-Israel governor in the United States. So there's the right. Now let's go look over to the left. Who's the most left? It would have to be homegirl, who just recently is making her way out, whose husband got freaking in trouble with his gay prostitute. Why am I forgetting the name of like the House Speaker? That had a long day. Speaker, lady, speaker, leaving office. Nancy Pelosi. I can't believe I forgot fucking Nancy Pelosi's name. Who said that even if our Capitol was burning down into ashes, that our support, she said aid, but not even aid, cooperation for Israel would still stand. That sounds, and then she bragged about her father being a Shabbos goy. Reminding everybody that a Shabbos goy is somebody who does the work of a Jewish person on the Sabbath, Saturday mostly, after Friday on sundown, so that they don't have to do any work. So they could have a Gentile do the work for them on the seventh day of the week, their day of rest. Well, we're entering into the seventh ion, the Aquarian age, where they believe that will be not just a day of rest, but a fucking 2,000 year span of them not having to work. Hence, Solomon's temple wasn't made by human hands. It was made by the hands of demons, aka Goyim, and they have the masons of the Temple of Solomon doing their bidding and work today. Shaquille O'Neal is a good example of one recently. Nancy Pelosi, fucking horrible. In other news things, we have Balenciaga suing production company for $25 million over controversial campaign. Like, they didn't have any say in what the fuck happened. That is pathetic. Saving face, totally. Baal Balenciaga, they had a tape, like a warning, like a murder crime tape, that instead of Balenciaga with just B-A-L is B-A-A-L-E-N-C-I-A-D-A. And then look at this lady, a Russian fucking dark occultist who runs this shit. That's just a little peek. And here's what they do. They tell you what they're doing because they try to escape retribution. Which is why such dirty fucks like Leon, whatever, who's in trouble for being associated with Epstein. And these fuckers like, can't say names, certain names, but they have great charity anthropology charity that they run. What they do, they try to do that to offset their horrible fucking crimes, because the law of cause and effect, of divine retribution, of karma is a thing, a teaching in occult sciences. So what they do is they, in order to make up for their fucking child slavery, sex slave trading, and raping and horrific actions, they set up a fucking some type of philanthropic BS to run cover. Fucking Rockefeller, who is merely just the American branch of the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds have Salvation Red Cross. Is them. So they do these philanthropic things just to try to offset their karmic retribution. So whenever you see somebody being so philanthropic, like the Gates, you know, Bill Gates, his own personal house manager, like the number one person to worker for him, the police came to the property of Bill Gates and confiscated like thousands of items containing child pornography, and he took the fall for it. You think Bill Gates didn't have anything to fucking do with it? Bill Gates, buddy with Epstein, who his own wife used that as a reason to divorce him, which also happened to play out into him not being able to, evading taxes. Oh, I've been talking myself into depression. I need a fucking cigarette for this. So, DeSantis is who they're going to bring in, I know it, who's adopted the official anti-Semitic Semitic definition provided to us by the Holocaust Remembrance Society, because the guilt of the Holocaust is fading, according to Jonathan Greenblatt. And the scapegoat white people, Amalek Esau, is growing. The leaders of the white supremac nationalist movement are Fuentes, a Hispanic, Kanye, Yee, a black person, Hebrew Israelite, and fucking Milo, a Jewish ex-gay, ex-Jewish, now fundamentalist, pretty much Christian. Or I don't know, is he Orthodox or some shit? Who put out, or a video got shared of him holding a hard drive in his hand saying, "Oh, I've got all this dirt on you." Typical Epstein fucking fashion. A total honeypot Mossad operation is what the Epstein thing was. And they never tied it back to the financier of it, Larry Silverstein. The mall, the guy in charge of creating the shopping mall as we know it, motherfucking Lex Wexner. Part of the mega group. The mega goes to MAGA. MAGA is the top level of masonry. When you come into masonry, you're a mason inside the temple, and then when you leave, you're a magi, a magus, and then the top level, a MAGA. MAGA. You think MAGA being the slogan for Trump, he does his mudras when he talks, a Mason thing. Look at all these soccer players doing their Mason type stuff in all their celebrations. They wave it in front of our fucking faces. That's another way how they escape divine retribution is, well, we're telling them what the fuck they're doing, what we're doing, and they don't fucking do anything about it. So they deserve whatever comes to them. And you know what? In some fucking way, maybe we do. Most of us are just cowards. We're afraid to be called a name. We're afraid to share shit like this because, oh, well, what are my Facebook people going to think about me? I'm guilty of that too. Because we also want to be careful not to get banned. But we also have to be brave to speak up for what's right. This is your children, your children's children, whom we're fucking fighting for. Our ancestors, what the fuck they did to get us here through all their suffering and trials and tribulations to bring us to this point. And are we going to let them down by cucking to being laying back and watching this world getting put into their order as we go into the year 2023? Numerically, this goes to the number 7. We just got 2022 equals a 6, which is why in my Aquarian TV's broadcast for the year ahead, I said, okay, well, we have the number 6, so let's look into the 6. 6 is the number of Venus, the goddess of love and war. So I predicted war. And what did we have shortly after the beginning of this year? The Ukrainian, Russian fucking psyop. Every war we've gone into has been over a lie. What's us to think that this is any fucking different? What's the commonality that Ukraine and Russia have? The strong influence of Chabad and Jewish oligarchs. Is it Russian? They just say Russian oligarchs, Ukrainian oligarchs. What they don't say is that they share a commonality. And are they dying? Are their children dying in these wars? No. Who is dying? Western fucking white Europeans. This talk is going to get me, hopefully, not in trouble. I don't preach supremacy. They label Nick Fuentes, and I'd love to do this, as a Holocaust denier. The only thing he ever did was riff off of a super chat and make a joke about it. Angel said that's why this is happening. What's that? They're charged. It's a mitzvah. Through negative commandment of the Mishnah to wipe out the memory of Amalek. Amalek is us. Hello, we got Lisa in the chat. Good to see ya. Good evening. You missed a little bit. I went ham, but I'm bringing it back into a more hopeful place right now. I tell you what, individually, in my own life, my family and my friends, they, at first, it was a shock. Oh, Liam, why are you an anti-quote Semite? Why do you hate Jewish people so much? Which is because they've been programmed to respond like that. We got 7 people tonight live. All right. Only to further remind you of this being totally fucking buried. Soul Trip in the house. It's not the quantity, it's the quality, right? So, white Goodman, of course, it's a party. Yeah, it's an intimate party here on Wake Movement. I got some swag. I'm going to make shirts. I've made shirts already. I'll make more. And then you just have to send me your address and I'll fucking send you. And I got hats to make with the WM logo. And also the rooster. Yeah, here comes the rooster. Mama. You know what? The camel is Gamel, the 3rd letter in the alphabet, and they changed the G and put it to 7th letter in our English alphabet and replaced it with the C, and we get the word camel. Our English language was created by dark fucking Hebrew knowing magas, magicians, and they encode into our language. If you only speak a certain language, you're only able to have certain thoughts. I took a class in school called Philosophy of Mind and Language, and how you're only able, John D and his, I kind of like John D actually. He brought up the Enochian language, or channeling fucking demons or spirits. Do we create our own thoughts? Look up the etymology of thought and idea. They both relate to God. Theos, thought, idea, Ea, the ancient Sumerian god Ea, or El, E-L, or E-A. Do we just receive these thoughts, or do we create them? Ever read the raw material? I have. And I enjoyed it. It was a long time ago. I haven't seen it for a while. I'll have to revisit it. But it spoke to me. I mean, I listened to this channeler named Chiron, and I really resonated with what he was speaking about. And then one time in his channels, he's like, Enkian and Lil. I'll get into Sumerian myth in a little bit. I just got thrown off a little bit. Sorry. The fuck was I talking about? John D. helped Queen Elizabeth destroy the Spaniards and recommended them traveling to colonize America. Was that a bad thing or a good thing? You know what I don't like is how wearing a USA hat, people would associate me with being a Trump tard. You see how The whole Republican Trump shit was used. Before that, we could all gather around the American flag. Now I feel like Democrats like hate the American flag. And now nationalism and flags I'm not always the biggest fan of, but I think it's good to be proud in your own, to a healthy extent, your own familial lineage, proud of ourselves, proud of our country, and have hope and love for it, but not at the expense of others. It's funny to see how we have this moral Olympics. Whoever has that with the World Cup. And so, who the fuck are we to lecture about human rights? There has been no, I know I love my country, I love America, but there has been no other greater, not recently, greater, well, we're a fairly recent country, complete devastation of people's human rights. We're the only country to drop a fucking atom bomb. And then Dresden? And then what the Allies did to Germany and the Hellstorm after World War II? You can't even talk about it because then they'll call you a fucking Nazi sympathizer. When we know that Nazism, we got 8 viewers, a new record. The sacred 8. We have just been given such a false history. One thing Ryan Dawson does is he does give a history that isn't the history that we got in our history books in high school. One of his specialties is on the Civil War. And I was always like, yeah, the South, a bunch of fucking racists. And the North, with Abraham Lincoln, kept the Union alive. Turns out it's total fucking bullshit. Was John D? Yeah, John D didn't end up celebrated. He ended up like in destitution, which makes me think that he might not have been from the tribe. If he would have ended up, but why do we still hear about him? You know, like that. Who's the guy who fucking we always talk? Nostradamus, Jewish. Like there's all which what a story of somebody interpreting dreams and then working your way up into like the royal fucking court and fucking. I thought maybe Rasputin might have been from the tribe. I don't know. Look at him. Would you look at him? My lovers, I have to go to the bathroom, but I won't leave us without some music. Here's Chopin. Frederick Chopin, a Polak, my own blood. Rasputin was evil as shit. He reminds me of Elon Musk, and I'll talk about that when I get back. Hope you hear this. I'll be right back. Classical music is so beautiful. Doc, since I've got hip to the world rap music, I heard that they even changed like the hertz that our music was on. Like it used to be on this certain number. They intentionally changed it to introduce chaos. Why? Because out of their chaos, they want to introduce order. The number of order is the number 7, or 7 days of the week. So as we go into the year 7, they are going to try to introduce their order. 480. Angel, I like your. Are you single? Let's have a big ass family. 12 kids, one for each sign of the zodiac. Here's the secret teaching of all ages: Blavatsky, Theosophy, Gnosticism, Kabbalahism. What they try to hide from us is the working. You've been married for 4 years? Well, I wish you peace and prosperity. Have a bunch of fucking. You know what? I'm all about like white saving our race. Is that racist? But I've dated like. Oh, you're single for 4 years. Message me. I got a whole house to myself. We could raise a family. That's the only reason why I want to have kids. I mean, some people do that out of selfishness, you know. But I really want to do it to save the fucking world. I could, I'll teach my kids about all this shit. And they will be fucking a threat to the order. Their order. Ordo ab caum. Novo secularum ordum. Hans Unter did a whole collection of interviews with Jean Irvin on how nearly all music has been weaponized and basically, yeah. You know, Beethoven did his play the magical flute, and it was exposing the initiation rituals of Masonry, where they had the marriage of Osiris and Isis, and he almost got fucking killed for it. And I recommend that song. What we want to do, we want to marry, honor thy mother and father in us. It was Mozart. Did I say Beethoven? Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, Chopin. Oh, and who did Valkyries? The Call of the Valkyries. What is that name? I don't know. Who did the Call of the Valkyries? Wagner. Thank you, Goodman Brown. The brain must be balanced. So, the secret teaching of all ages is the controlling of it's called our lunar mechanical mind. The teaching is that we have 3 minds. One associated with the brain, our analytical way of thinking. The other, our emotional brain, which is related to our heart. And then our mechanical sexual brain, which is associated with our genitals. And the way that genitals relates to Gentiles so much is, I don't think that's an accident. So what they try to do, they try to lead us around by our fucking dicks and have us in a place of low base fucking desire expression by just looking to porn and to jerk off. The teaching is that we control that energy, that life force, that viril energy of virility. And instead of just looking to have an animalistic base orgasm, that through love, as opposed to lust, through love, that we can transmute that sexual energy into a self-development, ultimately to reach up to the crown. our, which is the crown is also called the corona, which is going into from our lunar, mechanical, animalistic, sexual instincts into our solar body, our soul, creating a soul. The solar part of us is likened to our crown when we can transmute our lunar body into our solar body. That's why they want to have a coronavirus on it. Virus, virility, virality. So that we are just a bunch of the Masons and the Gnostics. They talk about those who haven't been initiated into the rituals as asleep, as the walking dead, as fucking zombies. So all these zombie killing movies, dog, I've been watching these videos and I know you've seen them, I've seen them, where these people are dying live on camera, which it's almost desensitizing. And what they do is they go into a fucking spin. They look off Gurdjieff soul building. Gurdjieff, he talks about the moon as like a monster that like recycles souls. But they might just use that just to get like people into him. Gurdjieff is weird and I like him. Attola Mason fucking from Turkey, I think. The Phrygian cap. Lots of this goes back to like today Iran, but back Syria. That's where I think lots of this sacred knowledge comes from. So this is hard, my friends, to try to, I love the moon too, but watch all the movies that they have blowing up the moon. The moon resembles the sacred feminine. We're like, oh, these new age people worship the goddess. These dark occultists, they're not sacrificing to the goddess, they are sacrificing the goddess. These temples of Isis that they have aren't to sacrifice to the goddess, it's sacrificing the goddess, who resembles care, compassion, concern, creativity, the feminine characteristics of our nature, our human nature. And we both have them in us. We express them. The man will express the masculine attributes more, and the feminine, the female. And they blur these lines. What we want to do is bring them together so that we're whole, not at the expense of the other. It's not for the man to be totally effemicized and fucking passive and a fucking bitch. And it's not for a bunch of women to be a bunch of fucking violent. Can we say dyke? Butch fucking. Now, some people have chemical balances so that they just have that and they're accepted. That's beautiful. But we want to, if you're a man, you want to marry the divine goddess within you. Have your own sacred, heavenly, celestial wedding to Isis. You are Osiris. And through that, you give birth to Horus, your soul, the creation of the soul, the co-creating of the soul, which knows not death. It's likened to the Sephirot Tiferet, the middle of the Kabbalist tree of life, which was taken from the fucking Syrians and the Aryans. Is that beyond comprehension to think that our shit has gotten stolen and fucking manipulated and then inverted and used against us? Finding silence is almost, and just relaxing, they teach, is the step towards the Kundalini awakening and rising. And sometimes you could have a shock thing that will bring you into that. Rebirth type experience, a euphoric type ecstatic experience. That's what we want to try to do. Orgasm. Aura. Or is light. AUR. I think it's the letters for gold. And so instead of having a gasm, which is like a spasm. We want to mine that gold. And we want to, that's how we transfer lead, which is Saturn, the base, low levels of winter, into the height of the summer solstice, where we have Cancer, whose home is the moon, together with Leo, whose home is the sun. And that's us bringing the silver of the moon together with the gold of the sun in that perfect holy matrimony. And they teach that as a single person through chastity and celibacy and right living and right action. That's how we prepare ourselves to pass through the lesser mysteries. But the higher mysteries have to be done through sexual magic, sexual cooperation in the holy sacrament of fucking marriage, but not as we've been given it. And then just how we create a soul is created into earth. Studying words and their origin is interesting. Etymology. I go to etymologyonline.com probably averaging 2 times a day. If there's any website that I should actually send fucking money to, other than Adam Green and Albert, it would have to be Etymology Online. You learn so much. And it always goes back to the Proto-Indo-European, which is synonymous with Proto-Indo-Iranian, Chaldean, where we get astrology from, the Magi from, the Phrygian cap, the Mithraism. So, our emotional, motor realm, in charge of our sexual instincts, they attack that through fucking movies, advertisements, to get us stuck in a base level existence to keep us from developing, unfolding our consciousness so that we don't wake up to what the fuck reality is. And we're just chasing our own fucking tail, jerking off. And lovers, I have a hard time breaking away from pornography and from masturbating. I feel like I'm in a confessional right now. There's something too about the confessional. When you do something fucked up, and then when you confess to somebody, we have that in us. O.J. Simpson wrote a book. If I were to kill fucking Nicole fucking Simpson, whose lawyer was fucking Dershowitz, who's Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer was Dershowitz. It makes sense. And like after you, I know this is kind of personal, but after you watch pornography and jerk off, do you feel great about yourself? I don't know, I've seen some girls who like, maybe like, and that could be a lie. A year from now, I could come back to this teaching and be like, you know what, that was wrong. But right now, it seems to be right. Like, after you bust a nut, I don't know how it is for girls. Not because I've never made them orgasm before. Oftentimes, we're too selfish. We just want to bust a nut ourselves. But when somebody goes into the sexual act with trying to like get the other person to come to a place of euphoria, surely that's more healthy. I lost 2 viewers talking about this. Maybe I was rambling. Am I rambling? Guys rarely last long enough. It's because of masturbation and pornography and just going into it just to please themselves. Yeah, Kim Kardashian got famous off of a fucking leaked porno video. Dog, look who runs the pornography industry. And the whole Playboy Mansion thing wasn't as fucking glamorous as one might think. Look into that if you dare. And it was also very much used as a fucking honeypot situation, very similar to the Jeffrey Epstein thing. And who was behind that? And what, maybe the CIA was behind the fucking Playboy Mansion? Well, the CIA is synonymous with fucking Mossad. Angel, you have what? Without being. I mean, privacy is good. I'm a Scorpio, and we're known for being very private. But fucking, I'm an open book. Israel via Canada. You know, I haven't looked into the Canada-Israel connection that much. I'll have to look into that, Goodman Brown. Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, the fact that the people in question have an overarching fucking stranglehold from the inception of pornography to its current day. OnlyFans. Guess who's behind that? You'll never fucking guess. And but the pornography is tainted by pedophilia. Yeah, that's the thing about pornography is like at first like a girl showing like a little bit of nipple turns you on, and then you want to, and then it's a slippery slope, and then you're watching fucking bestiality fucking videos, bringing us to our bestial level. The human race is we're racing to become truly fucking humans. Yeah, I watch them. I'm studying Christian Gnosticism. They talk about Jesus as a actual factual master Jesus is what they say. I don't know if that's just used as a cloak until you get deeper in and then they're like, oh, hey, this was all made up. But they still talk about Israel and how Israel goes, the world goes. Which brings me back to that channeler, Chiron. He was like, I agree with him on lots of stuff. And then in one of his channels, he's like, as Israel goes, so does the world. And then look a little bit further into it, and this guy Chiron turns out to be from these people. Lots of occultists, I'm afraid, are from these people. They share a little bit of their Kabbalistic knowledge just to fucking make money off of us or slave us. No masters, no slaves. Mark Passio, thank you for introducing me to the dark side of occultism so that I could sharpen my fucking mind to best discern what is healthy and what is not. And the cucking to Israel as the chosen is a good Occam's razor to cut off the fat and to bring in what is good. Which is why with Christianity and Catholicism in my Aquarian Sunday services or Saturday service, whatever the fuck day I choose, it has a look like Catholicism. Because that's the fucking environment I came out of. That's the culture. So it'll have that look. And I'm using it as a vessel. Pulling out the fucked up things and then using it as a vessel, as a vehicle. I've had this music in the background. Can you hear that? Yeah, Gnosticism is very interesting. But I think we have to go about it with just because somebody gives us some words of wisdom, then we can't. You like that? Mark Pass has a punk band. Yeah, I was like, was it a deaf? I know it's some other guy who has like, who's like a truther. That word I use lightly, reservedly. Who has a death metal like rock band. Like, we're getting fucked. Yeah. You know, I have a voice that I fine-tuned to sing Christmas carols. I want to do a Christmas album. Like my voice, like I styled it after Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, and I want to do a Christmas album, but just like retweak the words so that we're not worshiping a Jewish fictional person as our Lord and Savior. My favorite song to sing is "Over the Crown Lies a Mantle of White, a Heaven of Diamonds shine down to the night. Two hearts are glistening, blam 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 blim blim weather." I put a bunch of lights up. I love Christmas time. And what? Just think about it. We go into the darkest time of the year, so we're hoping being a light. Let us be a light unto the goyim by courageously standing up for. We're right. We are in the right, my guys. I've been doing this now and following like Adam and Albert and being hip to this now for 3, 4 years. I never stay on one subject that long. So it's got to be right. Just because I'm like, oh yeah. And then we see it unfolding in front of our eyes. Do we not? Are we not being fucking validated at every turn? All right, I'm losing some followers. Should I wrap this up? Adidas to launch investigation into Kanye. The fuck are they gonna investigate? Who the fuck are they to investigate? First on CNN, top advisor Stephen Miller, he looks just like Jonathan Greenblatt, to testify in January 6th federal grand jury. The whole January 6th thing was a whole Fed movement. Musk faces fines if Twitter's gutted child safety team becomes overwhelmed. That they don't. Elon threatened to release how they were banning people's accounts. Like, that would be pretty damning to the left. The news on Google is so fucking horrible what they decide. They're always pushing for recent surprise discovery within Tutankhamun's tomb. Why they push King Tut on us so much? Because they think that he's a Hyksos and they think that he was a tribist that took over the Egyptian fucking thing. The pharaonic line. All right, my friends, we're going to close it out. So I still have stuff for another stream. Angel, if you want to get together and move out of cold ass Canada to sunny Florida and start a family and do sexual magic. I'm joking. Don't like Aleister Crowley and sick fucks like that do dark tantra, where they're fucking the 11th degree of thelema of OTO, Ordo Templis Orientis, is fucking sodomy. So let us be strong in the truth. Let us be a light. Let's be loving. Adam Green translates biblical passages very well. Makes it easier to understand. Yeah, he really opened up my eyes. Oh, I just went to Key West just the other day. Besides it being gay as shit. I mean, I get along with gay people. I don't like to identify people by their gay sexual preferences. But they do have lots of roosters, which I love. So let us be bold and courageous, and at Thanksgiving dinner table, not be afraid to bring up such topics that are controversial, and know that we are in the right. Silly and funny yet serious, yeah. Be as wise as serpents. Yeah, I went to the who wrote Old Man in the Sea. My memory's getting bad. I went to that house and there's a bunch of cats just walking. That's where my cousin got married at, was the house of the author of Old Man of the Sea and a baseball thing. Somebody write the name of that guy in the comments. Ernest Hemingway. I went to Hemingway's house and he left it in the closet. They have to leave all, thank you guys, that they have to leave cats there on the property. There's a bunch of cats. And during the wedding, afterwards, after the ceremony, like that, while we were having hors d'oeuvres and cocktails, a cat took a fucking mouse and flung it up in the air, its dead carcass, and it hit like the best lady's for the bridegroom's dress and like slid down it. It was horrible. Ernest Hemingway. I have a cat, black cat. Her name's Nyx, and I love her because she's mystical. All right, my friends, may we be a light unto the fucking world. I love you all so much. An hour stream. Dad, this feels good doing these. I hope you guys enjoy them. I hope maybe next time we'll have 9. Maybe we'll reach 9. That'd be great. Love you, Lisa. Love you, everybody. Soldier, motherfucker. I love you all, guys. Angel, good night.